In this week's Parsha, we read about the promise to Abraham and Sarah to have Isaac, the birth of their firstborn, their only child after so many years of being barren. Sarah will be 90, Abraham will be 100 when they have this baby. And in the Haftorah, we read two stories about mothers who sacrifice for their children. The first story is about a widow of a prophet. And this prophet is said to be Obadiah, who actually saved hundreds of prophets from the evil King Achav and his wife Jezebel by hiding them in caves, and then he would borrow money to go and feed them and sustain them and take care of them. And she's a widow, and now these creditors are coming because he borrowed all this money, and they're going to take her children away as a collateral for this debt. And she goes to the prophet Elisha, who was the student of Elijah the prophet, and now he's the main prophet, and she asks him what to do. And he says, "What do you have?" And she says, "I have a little jug of oil." And he says, "Go out and borrow a bunch of vessels and start filling it with the oil." And the oil, just like in Hanukkah, the oil miraculously keeps pouring and pouring and pouring into the jugs, and she fills them all up. And he says, "Okay, now go sell the oil, and you'll take the money that you make, you'll pay the creditors, and you'll even make enough money to be able to live off the rest." The second story is of the Shunammite woman. There was a very prominent woman in the place called Shunam, and this Elisha, the prophet, went to visit there, and he would always stay by her. She insisted that she should stay by him, and she made a special loft for him because she realized how holy he was, a special loft and a bed and a own separate guest room for him, and he would always stay there. And he was so happy, he wanted to return the favor, so he saw that she didn't have children, and he gave her a blessing that they should have a child. And unfortunately, this child passed away. So unlike in our Torah portion where there's a blessing for a child and the child is born and it's Isaac and all these great things happen, this child passes away. Although you could say there is a small connection because in the end of the Torah portion we have the attempted sacrifice of Isaac, which I'll get to later. But the woman went and visited Elisha and said, "Hey, my son died, you have to come and help." And he came and he resurrected him. Made him come back from the dead miraculously. And according to tradition, that boy became the prophet Habakkuk. So it's interesting that much of the Haftorah tells about these two mothers and the lengths they went to secure the welfare of their children. And it's an interesting link to the Torah portion, because in the Torah portion we read how Sarah sent away Yishmael so that he wouldn't be a bad influence on Isaac. And the sages, when they were picking the Haftorahs, chose these parts about the mothers who cared for their children, right, which is most of the Haftorah, because it was such an important theme of the Torah portion, even though it wasn't the most prominent theme in the Torah portion. And it's really an ode to Jewish mothers who give so much and are so strong for their children. Because the Torah portion also speaks, like I mentioned, about the Akedah, the sacrifice of Isaac, where Abraham brings up Isaac onto the mountain to sacrifice him to God as God had commanded, which is a tremendous amount of paternal sacrifice, the father going to do it. And Isaac has said that he agreed with it and he was going along, he agreed with the plan and a self-sacrifice. But what do we focus on in the Haftorah? The love and the care of a mother to her children. May God show us the same love and care and bring Mashiach and save us from this terrible, dark exile. Shabbat Shalom.